So, Warhammer Vermintide 2 is now available for the Xbox One, but more importantly than that, it is available on Xbox Game Pass on day one. And during this Ranzini Spotlight, we're going to be talking about all the things I enjoyed about the game and some of the things I didn't. We're going to get into the reason why I feel that Warhammer Vermintide 2 is the perfect game for Xbox Game Pass. What's going on, guys? Randall Thor 19, the man with the million, back again with another video. Now, if you are a fan of that intense 4-player co-op gameplay action that Left 4 Dead pioneered 10 years ago, 10 years, has it really been that long since we got a brand new Left 4 Dead game? Such a shame we never got a new one. Anyways, Warhammer Vermintide 2 is here to scratch that 4-player co-op gaming itch. So put it on your radar, check it out for $30 or as part of Xbox Game Pass, because I believe it is worth every penny. Now I'm going to mention Left 4 Dead quite a bit during this video because, quite frankly, Warhammer Vermintide 2 is a carbon copy, and I mean that literally, a carbon copy of Left 4 Dead. And while you may not be fighting the undead zombie horde during Warhammer Vermintide 2, you will be fighting hordes and hordes and hordes of rats who are part of the Warhammer universe. Now, I don't know anything about Warhammer. I didn't play the first Vermintide game, but after a few hours playing Warhammer Vermintide 2, I kind of realized that I missed that intense 4-player co-op gaming that Left 4 Dead brought to the table all those years ago. And while Warhammer copies everything from Left 4 Dead, it still maintains its own identity. It has a bunch of different classes, it's got some interesting locales, a bunch of different enemy types, but it does a few things extremely well, and this is why I recommend it to anybody who has that craving for a Left 4 Dead style co-op action game. It absolutely, without a doubt, nails those intense co-op gameplay segments, and you know what I'm talking about. See, when you start up a game in Warhammer Vermintide 2, you start at the beginning of a level and the goal is to get to the end. And even though it's very linear, you go through different paths. Could be caverns, could be catacombs, might be a forest, could be a castle. But you'll get to that moment where everything's calm. There's a few enemies you need to get through, and then all hell breaks loose. You hear that war horn, and suddenly you have tons of rats descending upon you. You have chaos enemies attacking you. You have a rat ogre to your left. Your buddy screams out that he's being dragged away by a rat enemy, because yeah, they have the smoker enemy from Left 4 Dead in this. I mean, basically all the special enemies from Left 4 Dead are present again in Warhammer, but it absolutely nails those frantic moments when you don't think you're going to be able to survive because there are just too many enemies on screen, too many special enemies, ogres, big ass enemies that shoot bile at you that take a long time to kill. You'll get surrounded by rats with machine guns and flamethrowers. There's a whole bunch here that can just take you out in a few hits if you aren't very careful. So it nails that aspect, and it also nails that satisfying and brutal combat. Yes, this is more melee focused with some archery and kind of single shot muskets, but does it ever feel good to just wield that two-handed sword and just mow down rat after rat after rat, taking off their head, lining up that headshot with your bow and arrow, or setting all these little rat enemies on fire with your mage. So it does nail that satisfying, brutal combat. And another thing that I really enjoyed was the varying locations that you visit. You have castles, you go to the depths of catacombs, you'll be in a forest. It really kind of varied up the scenery that you're looking at. There'll be some big boss fights, and I really like that. Now, there also is a lot of depth through the game, and it's going to take a long time to see everything the game has to offer. There are 4 acts you can play through, and each axe has 4 levels except for the 4th one, and each one of the levels takes a good 30 minutes to get through, depending of course on the difficulty and how many real players you have playing with you. So it's going to take some time to finish the story, and yeah, it does have a story, although I'm not really paying much attention to it. I'm just trying to get through the level without dying, but there is a story there for people who are fans of the Warhammer universe. There are 5 classes to choose from, and each class has 2 extra variations that unlock, I believe, at level 7 and level 12. So you actually have 15 total different classes to choose from. You have the elf archer, you have the mercenary who wields that really long sword, you have a fire wizard, you have a bunch of other ones and their variations, so there's a lot to different choose from. One thing I didn't like is that when you actually join a game, you can't choose the same characters that someone else picked. So you kind of, you know, if your favorite class is the elf archer and you join a game, well, you're going to have to pick someone you may not be comfortable with. Now, I've been playing mostly with the mercenary, and I enjoy his style of combat and the abilities that he does have. And after each level, you get rated, you get loot boxes the game will give you. You can't buy them with real money, but that's how you get new weapons, better weapons, common, rare, epics that increase your hero power. Although in the very beginning they hand them out quite liberally, it does seem the more you play, the less you'll get. And it actually gives, achievements give loot boxes, so actually you actually do want to get the achievements, not just for the gamer score, but actually because it helps out in the game itself. So I'm sure once you have all the achievements and you've run through the game quite a bit, might be a little slowed down on how fast you progress, especially with the other characters. But there's always the harder difficulties to play on that give more experience and stuff. And this game does get pretty damn hard. On Recruit, we almost died a few times. We tried out Veteran, and it kicked our ass. So I can only imagine what the game plays like on Legend difficulty. But I can't recommend this game enough. It's probably going to be one of my favorite games of the year. Maybe not top 10 game of the year type stuff, but definitely one of the most fun I've had in co-op. Now, I mentioned in the beginning of the video that there are 2 ways to pick up Warhammer Vermintide 2 on Xbox. You can buy it outright for $30 or pick up the premium edition for $45, or you can subscribe to Xbox Game Pass. Now, Xbox Game Pass is a subscription service where if you subscribe for $10, you get access to 180 games, which sounds amazing, and it is a great service. However, it is comprised primarily of older games. Half the library is of 360 titles, and while there are some really good games in there, Rise of the Tomb Raider, Gears 4, Halo 5 Guardians, Mad Max, it is older games. Now, when I think of Xbox Game Pass and I think of the perfect game for it, I think of something that is brand new. I think of something that has a lot of longevity, something that you can get a ton of hours into, and something that you can enjoy with your friends. Because we all know how hard it is to get your friends to all agree on playing a single game, right? Most games come out $60, $40, $30. Someone may not have the money, and then you're like, okay, maybe we won't play it. But Warhammer Vermintide 2 is a game on Game Pass day 1, so there's really no excuse for a group of friends to be like, you know what, let's check this game out for a month, see if it's worth our time and our money. And if you do take that plunge, if you spend the $10, not only, most importantly, will you get a great game, you're going to get a fun game, and you're going to get a game that's going to last quite some time. Now, just going through the adventure one time will probably last you 10 hours, depending on the difficulty you play through. But if you plan on grinding out the different difficulties, this game could last you $50 to $100, which is great for a $10 subscription. And that's why I think it's the perfect game for Xbox Game Pass. Maybe even like a flagship title for the program. I know people will point to Microsoft's own games, but I think Warhammer Vermintide 2 is a game that you can go out there and say, this is a reason to check out Xbox Game Pass. The game's great. It's got satisfying, brutal combat. It has that intense co-op gameplay loop that Left 4 Dead pioneered. It is just a fun time to play, and hopefully you guys watching this video were convinced to maybe go check it out, especially if you crave that 4-player co-op gaming action. Anyways, guys, that is the video. Let me know what you think about it in the comments below. Are you going to check out Warhammer Vermintide 2? Are you interested in playing it? Leave a comment, and if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Hit that notification bell if you always want to be notified of any new video I do drop. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. I'm going to try to get into making more videos. I know I've kind of been slacking a little bit, but there's really not much to talking about, and I've been playing a ton of games. So I want to thank everybody for being patient, and I'll see everybody in the next video. Later, guys.